Hey homeowners, Shaun Miller here with Foundation Solution Group, and we are with Beneath the Surface, where we're bringing in local nonprofits and local businesses and learning more about what they do and how they do it, and how they contribute to this great place to live in Bowling Green, Kentucky. So our special guest today is the executive director of the Community Foundation, which is a fantastic project and very dear to several people in the community. And so we're going to dig into that today, how it was started, how it's done, what they do, what that looks like, and the success that they've experienced in the market. So Jennifer, glad to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. And how in the world did you line up with these guys that are involved with this fund, for the Women's Fund?
Oh, definitely. Our Women's Fund has made a definite splash in our community. So that started, this is our 13th year. So
Wow.
It'll be my 14th year at the foundation. It was started right after we started working on it, like 3 months into me starting at the foundation. And of course, it was, Shannon Vitale who had come to me and she's like, hey, we've had this idea. We need to bring it to Bowling Green. And so I was new to the foundation world. And there was a lot of things that we had going on, but that was just one way to really start getting involved in the community and really making an impact. And we did that through collective giving. And that's one of the great ways. We've had so many great volunteers. The women have stepped up and stepped out to really make this fund a giving, I can't even think of the word to say, but I mean, it's been very impactful for our community. So 1.5 million as of this year will have been given back out to our community.
Amazing. So they have that is the amount of funds that they have under your direction to distribute. So
No, that's how much we've given away.
That's right. They distributed that amount of funds. So gotcha. And the latest recipient was it Samir?
House on the Hill.
House on the Hill. That's right.
House on the Hill.
So, and they were here a couple episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
So great cause, very neat, very impactful what you're doing. And so, I heard a rumor. I don't know if this is a women's fund for sure, but I think that it was. But I heard that when you all, I guess we're creating an endowment for this and raising the money. Was it one of the largest fundraisers that's ever happened in this town? Is that true about the Women's Fund or no?
No, that wasn't the Women's Fund. So the Women's Fund all along has been doing a twofold campaign every year. Mm-hmm. And that's when we talk to women about making a donation. And we started this from the very beginning. Half of their donation goes into an endowment. The other half goes into the impact fund for that year.
Okay.
So our endowment has been building for 13 years.
Right.
We're currently, as of this month, right at $2 million in our endowment.
Wow.
And we pull off of that. So the part that we pulled off this year is about $73,000. So that goes into our impact fund. So that's allowing us to grow those grants that we give out. So we've got $188,000 we're giving away this year. And to break that down, we have 4 finalists, 4 nonprofits that are vying for that $100,000 with these projects.
Right.
$100,000 will go toward one organization. 68 is what we call our growth grant, because our whole goal was to eventually get to 2 $100,000 grants.
Right.
And so our $68,000 is going toward the next $100,000 we're trying to give away annually. Wow. And then we'll have 2 $10,000. So everybody that makes it to the final 4 is a winner.
So if you're a 501c and you need support, so how do you get involved with this? How do you be a candidate? You fill out paperwork, you apply for a grant. What happens?
Yes.
How do you do that?
So the grant cycle for the Women's Fund is currently open, and it started as of today. So they have a month basically to fill out the grant application, apply for the funds. They have to apply for the total $100,000. And then that puts them into the running for the 68 and for the 210s. So, but the cool thing is programs, you can take 5 years to spend that over programs.
Oh, wow.
So for construction projects or capital projects, we put a limit of you need to spend it within 2 years.
Right.
So that's kind of the stipulation, but it has to go to women, children, and families is one of the things we want it to be, impactful. We want it to be maybe an expansion of services or a new service or some type of growth that this organization is trying to accomplish that they need $100,000 for.
Wow. I mean, that's pretty impressive. It seems to me that that grant amount is significantly more, than what you would normally get, and put all your time, energy, and effort in getting this grant versus applying for 10 grants.
Right.
So
it's a pretty, it's a pretty hard process because we do site visits. They have to give us a lot of information.
Right.
And so, it takes some time. So it can be costly for an organization to, write grants all the time.
Right.
But we try to, be aware of that and make it as easy as possible.
It should be a significant amount of money. So a game changer for maybe some.
Sure.
Like House on the Hill. I think I could definitely see the stride and the momentum behind them with that. So the idea came about, I've heard different stories that modeled after, do you have like a sister company that you guys look at that you consult with, or how does that work?
When we started, basically I started looking at different women's funds across the United States, and they are named many different things, but it's basically a collective giving where women pull their resources and then we give one large grant. And so we've looked at Impact 100, which is in Owensboro. And then in Evansville, there's a women's fund. It's called the Vanderburg Women's Fund. And we looked at that. And then we looked at several others and we kind of made it our own as far as what we wanted to do. We wanted the women to not only raise awareness of what the needs are in this community, because there's so many people that don't realize what goes on and how many boots on the grounds we actually have doing the hard work and what kind of services they're providing. So raise the awareness. And then also we wanted them to have a voice in who is going to receive the $100,000. Of course, the very first grant was only $51,000, but hey, it was a place where we started. But they all get a voice. So when what we call membership is really a donation, but we consider that you're a member for the year and you get to vote. So that is so everybody gets a vote come October the 21st this year. Everybody will get to vote on those 4 finalists that we.
Perfect. So how many members you're up to?
Currently this year we have 309.
309 members. So is there a lifetime membership?
There is a lifetime membership.
And how many of those do you have?
Well, we have about 22 lifetime members, and that is a one-time gift of $25,000, or you can make that gift over 10 years. If you're fairly young and you want to be involved, you can do $2,500 for 10 years and become a lifetime member. And what that gets you is a vote for life for you, and you can have one successor. So if you have a daughter, a niece, a really good friend, you can pass that vote on to the next woman or girl or whatever you want to call it, to continue on the legacy in the Women's Fund and helping to vote and put those dollars in a really.
So Women's Fund, which is women members and lifetime members, but you grant to any organization that's a nonprofit organization. So no confusion there. I think that way at first, maybe it's a women organization or woman owned, but it's not like that.
Nope.
Just a member. So what's some of the success stories that you've seen where you guys have contributed, where they've won the grant, and the steps you've seen and the good that you've seen come from this fund? What is some of those stories? Do you have a particular story that you
I think, some of the things that we did not realize would happen, but we hoped, I guess, but really we hadn't even thought about it. But there's been a couple of times where we've had the 4 come to our annual dinner, and we usually have around 250 women there. So not all the members come. They can vote proxy because we do summaries and stuff. But there was a year that one of the 4, of course, did not receive the impact grant. And a donor in the audience went anonymously and donated to the organization that applied, and they too received the amount that they were asking for from the Women's Fund. So that's one of the benefits. The other benefit that I've seen that's a really cool story is that when you serve on a grants committee and you're actually looking at all the applications and all of the different, women's hearts are huge.
Right.
That's one. Right. So it's a huge decision, and it's a hard decision. But you will see those women that have sat on that committee start volunteering in those different areas.
Oh.
So they either want to be a board member somewhere, or so we've
Right.
seen some of that
Right.
take traction, and that's very satisfying.
So not just monetary, but also boots on the ground, like you
Mhm.
said. So
Mhm.
fantastic.
Mhm.
So I imagine that is a hard decision, a lot of work. You know, how do you help? And I've seen examples of that. And Mary has to make decisions
Yeah,
on some
that's
things, and so not on grants, but not. But
that's
but
tough.
they also have discernment. I think they can tell when you're really putting it to the, when you're really trying to benefit you, that just kind of comes through sometimes.
Right,
Would
sure.
you agree? I mean,
Yes.
it kind of, you just know, and this lines up with this, and this doesn't line up with this, and are these numbers realistic? And so, and Google helps us with things like that.
Yeah.
So is this what it costs to add this, and this what it costs to do this?
Yes,
So fantastic.
Yeah.
So the original model, do you know where that came from? Do you know the history? Was it St. Louis? Where
I don't know where
Yeah.
Impact 100 was started. I
Right.
know, community foundations. Now, the Women's Fund is only a fund within the community foundation. So
Right.
we have 80 some funds at our foundation. Women's Fund's just a part of that.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so it's not its own entity. It's just a grant making process within the foundation. But to kind of explain that, so it's kind of nice that it's just, we call it the Women's Fund,
Right.
and there's a lot of moving parts to it.
Right.
So, but there's, I don't know, probably there's 900 community foundations across the United States,
Right.
and I would say probably 25 to 30% of them have some type of collective giving, whether it be Women's Fund, youth philanthropy, young philanthropists. So it can come in many different ways, but
Right.
it's like a granting process.
So I like how do we need to pause for just a second? Oh, we go. Sorry, I hit those buttons because of the heat.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I just noticed that.
Oh. So you want us to pick back up? Are we okay? Yeah. What was it? The camera? The actual camera was
No,
on?
the power supply was just not turned on
Oh.
on this camera, but the battery.
The battery took over and you noticed? Oh, gotcha.
So you'll edit this down. Okay, great. Great. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about the Community Foundation,
Right.
since it is really the nonprofit that manages the whole thing. The Community Foundation is started in 1995. So it's 30 years old this year.
Right.
I've been at the foundation for 14 years. I'm the first executive director.
Right.
And the way that we measure ourselves is we measure it by the amount of assets that we have in our management.
Right.
So when I started, we were around 2.5 million in
Right.
assets, and today we're sitting right at 25. So we've kind of grown that. Women's Fund is part of that, but we have other significant funds within the foundation.
Gotcha. So maybe about 80 funds-ish, you're saying?
So we have about 80 funds, and they're at all different sizes, and they all do different things. So what we call a donor advised fund is
Mhm.
where a donor wants to set up a fund, and then they have advisement capacity over that fund, and we make grants out of that fund to nonprofits. So
Gotcha.
we're kind of that middle of the road philanthropic arm that helps donors achieve their charitable goals.
Right.
And we also help raise awareness of what some of those needs are in the community. So that's one of our biggest endeavors, is always to help our donors understand what the needs are in the community, who's doing the work, and spotlighting that work.
So when you contribute to a fund like this, and it gives this gift the chance as an endowment to keep giving over and over and over again versus
Mhm.
making a one-time donation in a charitable cause. Plus, you can change that focus a little bit, I guess, going forward. And is that a plus of this thing, like you're talking about, the different ways?
Well, with Women's Fund, it's pretty much always going to stay focused on women, children, and families. So we
Right.
call it kind of, that's its interest, that's its focus. Now with a donor, and donors do different things. So it's almost having like a little bitty foundation
Mhm.
within the foundation.
Right.
So their donor advised fund is kind of acting like their own family foundation.
Right.
And so each year, I will calculate on those endowments how much they're going to be able to give away.
Right.
And then we share with them, like we have a grant process, and we call for grants at the first of the year. We usually have anywhere between 35 to 40 different nonprofits apply.
Right.
And then I take a summary of each of those nonprofits
Right.
and I share that with my donor advised fund holders. So they have advisory capacity. We own the asset, but they have advisory capacity. And so that's how I'm able to spotlight the different organizations. Like, this is the need this year. Would you like to join us in helping to meet those needs?
Right.
We have our own unrestricted dollars, which allows us to grant out directly. And so we have a grants committee made up of my board members. And then we look at all the grants. And then we have our donor advised fund holder join us in helping meet those needs. And so, our grant process, we were right at giving away 90,000 this year, and it ended up being like 300,000.
Wow.
So that's one of the ways that we've amplified our giving and helping to meet needs.
Perfect.
But they don't have to give to these needs. They
Right.
can give to any nonprofit.
Right. Right. So
But-
now you see why they have an executive director.
Yeah.
A lot of moving pieces and
There's
stuff.
a few moving pieces.
But I felt honored that Bowling Green, this community, you said approximately maybe 900 funds somewhere in the United States. And so one of them right here in Bowling Green,
That's
Kentucky.
right,
So
yeah.
that's a big deal. I think it's something to be very proud of. And you've done a great job with the fund. I hear little rumors. You do a good job. So
I hope
good
so.
thing. The original, back in the day. So what does this endowment look like? Well, if you, in your maybe best guess or your vision, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what does it look like?
Roughly, we're growing anywhere from $1 million to $2 million a year in assets under management. So if you do the math, that's kind of, now you never know. We have a lot of legacy gifts that have been named to us. And of course, that's God's timing, not my timing.
Right.
And so those are just, it could be a great year or it could be just an average year.
Right.
And that's okay. That's just kind of the nature of the business. We do a lot of planned giving, but a lot of it is just, as donors feel led and as they want to make a legacy in the community, they don't necessarily want to go down the path of a private foundation, because there's a lot of stipulations and a lot of work that goes with that.
Right.
And we do all the back office work. We do all the basic work. They are included in our audit and
Right.
everything. And basically they have advisory capacity,
Right.
which is just takes all the burden off them and they get all the fun.
Makes it easy.
It makes it easy. So we're a great philanthropic vehicle.
So if we give out this grant, I'm just trying to picture my mind. So what processes are later? Maybe just that we audit that you did what you said you were going to do with these funds. Is there a process there? Or what does that look like? Or the honor system, like say we needed these funds to do this, this, and this, and by you said 5 years,
So follow-up reports.
Yes.
So they all have to provide reports. For 2 years, it'll be a 2-year report. How did you spend the money? What did you spend it on? Some of it we do invoice
Right.
release of the money. So if it's a construction project, then they'll present the funds that they need, and we'll give them out money a little at a time.
Gotcha.
And it really just depends on the capacity of the organization,
Right.
and how they're going to need the money.
Right.
But they'll do a follow-up report with us. We have them come to our mid-year event next year. They do a whole report to the membership at our annual dinner.
Right.
And we'll do a story of the follow-up report in our annual
Perfect. I've seen one of those.
annual
Pretty
report.
impactful. Right.
Mhm.
So, are all your donors big donors? Or there's some small donor? Is it all different packages, all different sizes? What does that
Yeah,
look like?
it's all
So-
different sizes.
Right.
So I would say, and how I explain it to my daughter, because she's always asking me, Mom, what is it you do? I
Right.
say, I work with donors to build endowments to support other nonprofits. And, but like the average person that's going to give $250 or $500 to an organization each year, and they want it to be a lasting impact and they want it to forever be an asset for our community, they could give us $500 and we would put that into our community impact fund,
Right.
which is our unrestricted fund. So that's what goes out into our grant process.
Right.
And so it's an endowment. It would continue to build. That gift continues to give back forever and ever. So that, $25,000 is our minimum for a endowed fund
Right.
for it to give back. And so that's kind of where we start. So you can build up to
Gotcha.
25,000
Right.
and start giving away,
Right.
or you can just give gifts to existing funds, because we have a lot of agency funds.
Right.
So we have, Kids on the Block has a fund with us.
Right.
Boys and Girls Club has a fund with us. I mean, then we have a lot of agency funds, and you can give directly to their funds as
Right.
well.
So pretty neat. Wasn't exposed to this. So my goal today was to expose this to people that may or may not know about the Women's
Right.
Fund, that want to contribute, but they don't want to just do a one-time gift. They want it to keep on. And so you can put it at the hand of these folks with the success that they've had and grow this thing. And so infinite, I guess, forever.
Really, endowments are, I always kind of relate what we are to like scholarship funds at colleges. So those scholarship funds are forever going to give back to kids.
Right.
Well, we're kind of the community scholarship fund, and we give back to nonprofits.
Right.
So, it's going to be here forever. Long after I'm all gone,
Right.
Long after all my board's gone, we've got new people, it's going to rotate. But the whole structure is a structure that's going to remain here forever and continue to do good.
Right.
So just to kind of give you an instance, last year, the Community Foundation gave out 179 grants to 98 organizations for a total of 1.7 million.
Wow.
Together. So that's just 1 year.
Right.
And so that's pretty impactful.
Yes,
and that's the Women's Fund's just a small part of that. And we love our Women's Fund.
Right.
But I think the overall picture of what we do for the community and how we continue to really promote philanthropy is a real asset.
So if there's a group of ladies out here that want to do similar to what you guys have done, what would be your advice to them? I mean, how do they, what's the next step? Do they call? Do they hire a consultant? Do they give you a phone call and you can give them a direction, or what happens? Or join our fund maybe.
Right, exactly. That's what I would always suggest. And anytime that anybody's thinking about starting a nonprofit or starting anything, come and talk to me. Because I can talk to you about what's already happening. Is there other interests that's already going on? Is there other nonprofits already doing this? And then you're saving money, you're saving time, you're collaborating. And so, I would encourage you just come and have a conversation because, not necessarily, you can go ahead and still start whatever you want to start. But it's always good just to gather as much information about your community and what's going on as much as possible.
And might be able to get more momentum with those proceeds faster and sooner than not have legal fees, not have accounting fees, not have audit fees. And those things are already done here in this situation. So,
I mean, with our Women's Fund, we recruit every year. We reach back out to our members and we're like, do you want to be a member again? And we're communicating to them on a regular basis. So, there's a lot of work that we continue to do to keep the women interested, keep them notified, keep them updated on everything. We have volunteers that are doing newsletters, that do our social media. I mean, our volunteers are wonderful.
Right.
It's a working advisory board, believe me, and they do a great job.
I like it.
So, yeah.
So I'll glance at the website. There's what's the website, by the way?
It's cfsky.org.
Okay, and so I looked at the breakdown of the proceeds and where you did. There were 5 categories on there, and it looked like basic needs. Was that one of them? What are the different categories of the fund that was distributed? I guess 2024, what I was looking at. Did it say?
So what do we give back to? What kind of focus does the Community Foundation overall have?
Yes.
So we can pretty much give back to any nonprofit.
Right.
So it could be education, beautification, recreation.
That's what I was saying.
Those are the things that are outside of most grantors. And so like we've done several grants to Operation Pride, and that's through our donor direction.
Yes.
And so pretty much as a donor advised fund holder, we're not limiting you to who you can give back to. You can give back to your church, you can give back to your college, you can give back, to the Red Cross, you can give back to anybody as long as they're in good standing as a 501c3. So we do all that due diligence in the background.
So Operation Pride, Johnny Webb, he's done the flags and he's at the exits, the black fencing and that sort of thing. So a big deal. And so it's
and it does make a difference to our community. It draws in
got that right.
The people that give money back to our nonprofits.
Right. It's like Flag City, what's going on? I see all these big flags and whatnot. So thank you, Johnny. You've done a great job. I'll tell him thank you. He doesn't hear that very often,
Yeah,
but it's a lot of stuff like this, and that goes on. So when you were talking about the different people, the boots on the ground, they're giving and whatnot, I see. So you guys do everything you can to maximize that dollar that's given from that endowment. Almost all of that goes to where it's supposed to go, and
Definitely.
not all the administrative fees, not all the this and that. So fantastic what you're doing.
I think one of the things that we've really seen though, and what our nonprofits are telling us, you can get grants for specific programs, but it takes people to run those programs. That's right. And it takes people to maintain all the records and to do and keep everything in order. Right. And so capacity grants, operational grants, are one of the things that our nonprofits are really struggling with. So my suggestion to anybody, if you're thinking about giving to a nonprofit, don't restrict the money. Let them use it how they best can use it, because everything's going to go towards supporting what they've said they're going to do. And, all of our nonprofits in this area are wonderful and doing great work.
Most nonprofits can make $1 seem like $5.
Yes.
They stretch that dollar a long way. I've heard Mary say that several times.
That's right.
Very frugal, very intentional with their spending and what they're doing. So that's a good statement that you said, to give them that liberty to do.
Yes.
And needs change, goals change, things change, life changes. So that's awesome. So you guys that have an office downtown, I think you have are you WNKY? Who's your neighbor?
The radio station.
And then we got Country Peddler on this side. So I think it's a great office. So it's kind of.
Yep, we're right across from the newspaper office.
Right. So if somebody wants to be involved with the community foundation, the Women's Fund, they
give us a
contact
call.
You, and they can consult with you if they've got some idea that maybe something how they want to do and what they want to do, and you can assist them with that.
Yes, we can. We can give them all kinds of ideas and just help them understand what it is exactly that that we do, because it's a little bit, a lot sometimes.
I agree. So I don't play to know and tend to understand, but I do know that it's very impressive. The women, what they do in this community, whether that's handbags for hope, they raise a phenomenal amount of money. You've got this women's fund here, and then you've got this backbone of these, and it just shows you where their heart, like you said, big hearts, doing great things. And so to not be selfish and want to do those things alone says a lot. So thank you.
Yeah, well,
we're glad to have you guys and what you do and the impact that you make. And I would hate to see what this community would be like if we didn't have some of these resources like we do, and they're going on behind the scenes. So that's a big, big deal. So do you have any helpers, or is it just you other than volunteers?
I have 2 part-time people that work with me. I have one that's does all my financial stuff.
Right.
And then Kim, that's Becky Nunley. And then Kim Fillingham also works with us. And she's kind of the point person for Women's Fund now.
Right.
So she does all of their record keeping and all of the stuff that is involved in doing the back office for a Women's Fund. So
fantastic.
Yeah, so I do have some help, and that is wonderful.
Good. I thought she did it all herself.
No, I couldn't do it all myself.
Thank you. Very. We
couldn't do it without our volunteers either, because they have been super. I mean, I was alone by myself, and when we started this, I'm like, I can't, we're going to all have to work at this. And they did. Let me just tell you, those women are dedicated.
Right. So I started hearing about your growth, maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago. We didn't hear as much. Not that it was doing good, but we've really seen a lot of momentum, haven't we, in the last 2 or 3 years more so, because that's part of that building and compounding with the endowment. And that.
The endowment has done well. We've had our ups and downs in the market because it's invested in the market, but it's pretty consistent. And, we know investing is long-term. It is not going to be short-term. It could be up tomorrow, down today, or whatever. But, COVID really got us because we were at 411 members.
Yes.
And then when COVID happened, we made a few adjustments, and that was just a couple, several hard years. So we are coming back from that.
Right.
So we're at 309 today. And so, I think we're building back, but people just kind of got disconnected and didn't want to come out and go to the events like they used to. And people are getting back to wanting to be involved.
So radius, what's your demographic? I mean, not your demographic, but your geographic.
We cover the 10-county area that's considered the Brad area. So there's 10 counties that basically surround Warren County.
Right.
And so we allow any nonprofit in those areas to apply for grants. So we've given to Franklin before, the Boys and Girls Club down there. They built a teen center. the Women's Fund.
Oh, wow. That's
So
right.
yeah, so any
I
of
have
our
heard that.
grants can cover that 10 county area. And the reason why we decided to do that was because most of our nonprofits, we are the center, Warren County is.
Right.
A lot of our nonprofits service those outlying counties.
Right. That's
So
right.
any funds that they receive, we didn't want to just restrict it to Warren County. We wanted it to be able to do the most for the people.
Right.
So
great.
that's why we
So
went with
serving
the
the
South
heart of the
Central
region
Kentucky.
in the 10, 11, the Brad area. So there's,
Mhm.
like you said, 10 counties.
It's 10 counties in the Brad
around
area.
Warren County,
Mhm.
and they can do it. Well,
Yep.
Jennifer, thank you for taking time out of your busy day
Yes.
and working for this fund to visit with us and help set us straight on what they do. And
It's wonderful work.
yes, we hope you have great success and great momentum and great growth forward, so we can impact more of these
Yes,
objectives that they're trying to achieve. So if you want to get involved,
definitely.
the Women's Fund, get a hold of Jennifer Withington or any of those guys will be glad to guide you and help you and assist you.
We're on Facebook, so you can always find us there. But Community Foundation of South Central Kentucky, just look us up and you can give us a call.
So fantastic. So, and if you want to be a part of something, these women are a great bunch of gals. So do that. Look them up and be a member, become a lifetime member, whatever the case may be, and support a good cause. So thanks for joining us today here on Beneath the Surface, and we'll see you again next time.